Welcome to the Big Play Tailgate with Chucky Booms, Bob Golic. I'm Tony Zarrella. Week 15 in the NFL, and the Super Bowl champions, two-time defending, coming to town. I know you're laughing already.
As soon as you said that, I thought, wow, time flies when you're having fun.
It's a slow torture. Chiefs come in 12-1. Bob Golic, the Browns are 3-10. And somewhere along the way on this ride, you're going to pick them somehow. We'll get to that in just a minute. Special guest joining us as well. Yeah, well, you're already here, Bob. Yeah, you're always a special guest. But look, I think we're at the point where you look at games like this, and the draw is Patrick Mahomes, Travis Kelce at home,
Taylor,
and the Chiefs.
What do you mean?
Oh my God, is Taylor coming to Cleveland?
She is, and
Great, it's wonderful. She didn't come on the tour, so it's good that she's coming. You had to go to Pittsburgh to see her. But anyway,
yeah, a lot of pull,
We
Travis.
went to Pittsburgh to see him too, and that didn't work out.
so but the Chiefs are the draw, and the Chiefs actually find a way to keep other teams in it. They keep them around, and then they do what they got to do.
And if you again to show that as someone once said, God must hate the Browns. On top of all of this, you have it's going to rain and probably be in the low 40s. So what better way, Bob, to round up the family and say, hey, who's up for the 3-10 Browns? It's pouring rain.
I
Fun
was
for
gonna
the whole
give-
family.
I was going to give you this for Christmas. It's a big, giant family poncho.
Yeah,
Well, you
Yeah.
bought the tickets hoping that clearly
Yeah.
that this would be a marquee matchup, right?
No
And then the
doubt.
Browns
No
self-destructed,
doubt.
Isn't that how
as
the-
we've discussed multiple
Isn't that how the
times.
network's trying to? Oh man, this is going to be a great game at the end of the season.
You would have thought that.
You would have thought
4 months
that,
ago.
Except Deshaun's not even in the state of Ohio.
No.
It's crazy, Bob. Hey, do you remember a couple of years ago when Patrick Mahomes was well on his way to doing what he's doing, and people said, there could be a day where he breaks Tom Brady's records? I'm thinking of the Super Bowl 7. Right? It's not possible, right? Well, he's got 3. He's been to 4 Super Bowls. He's young. That could actually happen. I could actually see this with him.
Oh, it could actually happen. And
Did I stump you there?
no, I'm torn between the fact that, yes, he could eventually break Tom Brady's record, and Bob mentioning that Deshaun Watson is rehabbing the way any person who tears their Achilles would rehab. And that's with a chick, some liquor, and a giant yacht out on the ocean. I mean, think of the calisthenics and the workouts that he's got to go through going from deck to deck to deck
But
on the yacht.
hydrotherapy
Yes.
always works for bad injuries. You stick it in the water, turn on the engine, and have it go.
You stick it in the water?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What'd you guys do at Notre Dame?
We suck it in the water.
Okay. All right.
So,
Shut up, we have girls.
At any rate,
It's not Rudy they're chanting. Anyway.
And I don't want anybody to think at home that I'm piling on Deshaun. It's not like he's not thinking of the Browns and hoping they do really well against the Chiefs. I'd bet $100 he doesn't know who the hell they're playing this week. But if they stuck a mic in his head,
I would never take that bet because I think you're dead on.
You can't take it.
The difference between you and me is I don't care what he's doing. I don't care.
I like that. I
What's
need
the
to
old-
get where you are.
What's the old song? How can I miss you if you won't go away? Go
Yeah.
away.
Yeah.
Stay away. Don't harm anybody. Okay?
Yeah, that'd be
Post whatever
nice.
you want to post. I'm not following you. You're not worth my time and attention. Just stay away. Because at the winter meetings a couple of days ago down in Dallas, when the Haslams are hinting that Deshaun's coming back, you can't. You can't. We've talked about it. Please stay on the ship down in South Beach. Cruise around.
Hard-hitting
Stay
commentary
away.
from the Haslams at the winter meetings. How do you feel about 3-10 after the exciting run last year and all that stuff? And they came with perplexing. It's perplexing. Bob, in all seriousness, I wanted to ask you this. If you're playing on the Cleveland Browns, and you're a Cleveland Browns legend, and your quarterback who makes more money than the whole team put together, when he's out on a boat,
his friend.
and he's out on a boat instead of making his way here, how would you feel as a teammate?
I would be, as a teammate, I would be pretty upset. And anytime somebody's hurt, you put them in the sidelines. I mean, it's useless. They don't do anything, but they kind of utilize you like another coach. Hey, watch this. Hey, go get me some water. Hey, did you make coffee? Things like that.
I could see you doing that. Could you not, Tony, if the Browns had an important game against the Super Bowl champs, whatever, the Thursday night thing, you couldn't see Bob standing with a cast on a couple feet away from Schottenheimer and Bud Carson offering up, hey, I saw something, Bud, this might help. And this asshat is on a yacht down in Florida.
Well, first thing, I want no part of Bob's water because he sticks it in the water. So, but no offense. But here's what
different flavor.
You're onto something though, because you always hear athletes say they feel disconnected from the team when they get injured because they're not around, and it's very difficult if it's a serious injury to be away for months at a time. So I get the impression that the current players aren't thinking of Deshaun, but you're saying they're offended that he's doing this.
They will. Your point is well taken. I mean, they're not going to, and that's a hard thing, is being the injured guy, is to go out there before practice with your buddies and hanging out and talking, and then the whistle blows and everybody's gone and you're standing there by yourself. And it goes on and on and on. And you feel very disconnected. So, I mean, I'm sure they look and they say he's not here, especially when it's something so in your face. It's kind of tough to ignore, but I kind of understand.
Could he really
By
be
the
a
way,
coach?
I just got
Do you really think he's mastered this offense? I mean, did you see him in this offense?
I just got
Is there
this.
anything he can...
I just got this breaking news. I didn't know this, and I think the audience sure should. It turns out that the C on his jersey for captain is actually he's the captain of that boat offshore. He's on
right back
the USS Minnow, Bob. Hey, look, I mean,
I don't know.
But think about it. He's going to go. If he's on the sidelines for a game, everybody is going to be yelling at him, all kinds of stuff.
You mean the fans?
Yeah, fans.
And maybe some players.
Yeah, maybe some players, if they stay on the sidelines and play the whole game. The fans would just be taunting him. Unfortunately, these guys came out
for what
when
he's
he finally
done.
got hurt. When he finally got hurt, a lot of people cheered.
Well, we can continue this after that. We got to take a break. We got a special guest joining us after the break, and much more to dissect here on the tailgate. Stick around. We'll be right back. And back here on the tailgate, Browns and Chiefs by the lake this weekend, and we want to bring in a special guest who joins us from Tampa, former Major League pitcher Lucas Harrell. Lucas, a Missouri native, member, by the way, of the Missouri Sports Hall of Fame. Congratulations on that.
There you go, Luke.
And
Thank
I'm
you.
not going to ask you right now to pick a winner for Sunday because I think we all know who the better team is. However, they come from your backyard. How would you say this game is going to shake out?
Well, if it's close, the refs might help out, but I think the Chiefs take this one. I think they game plan really well for Myles Garrett. I think that's probably their biggest worry on the defensive side. So, and I just think that the talent kind of takes over for Kansas City.
Lucas, you pitched you were drafted by the White Sox, spent more time with the Astros, the Blue Jays as well. I wanted to ask you, because we bring you in on the heels of a conversation about Deshaun Watson rehabbing on a speedboat down in South Beach.
By the way, isn't that the place that LeBron James took his talents?
No, that was like
taking my talents to Long Beach.
They were on banana boats.
They were on a banana boat with Chris Bosh and Dwayne Wade.
Paul George or whatever.
Yeah.
Hey, but I wanted to ask you, so, I know earlier in your Major League career you had arm or shoulder issue. And, when you're off rehabbing, athletes always say it's really tough because you're away from your teammates. Bob's take on it, if you didn't hear it, was that it's a bad look for Deshaun because he actually could be here supporting his teammates. What's your take on that?
I agree with that. I think that it's a little mix of both. I think you need to be able to be there with your teams because that's where the camaraderie comes in. That's where, some of my best memories are just like being around the guys in the clubhouse. Yeah. So I think that building that trust with them and keeping in tune with the team, especially like I was saying, he's got a guaranteed deal. You're getting all that money and you don't want to be locked in with the team. So when you're ready to come back, you just slide in effortlessly.
Lucas, that's a good point because the one thing that I missed, one of the things that I missed after I retired was the camaraderie. You were so close to the guys around you. when I was in Cleveland for those 7 years I was there. There was like 9 of the guys were the same people on defense, and you got to know them. And their wives are having babies, things like that, and it's hard. In fact, we even had a camaraderie night every Thursday.
Yeah, and I mean,
and football, explain.
And football's a lot different than baseball in the sense of like you have to have that level of trust because that's the guy next to you,
right?
And whether it's hey he taps you on your leg and says you got to slide over. Or, hey, there's signal calls. There's more of a personal connection with that
right.
with the football.
Yeah, baseball is more the clubhouse thing, which is locker room for the football guys.
Yeah.
But I get what he's saying, especially being a starting pitcher in the major leagues.
Yeah.
He just gets the ball to start the first, and it's although you got to admit, it'd be nice to know that all the other guys behind you in the field are guys that you all connect with and all that stuff, rather than going, oh, the center fielder's back from his Bahamas cruise with his chick that he put out on Instagram. Deshaun Watson, Lucas, has zero support in this town. And it just felt like, to me, a kick in the Guyons on top of everything else that, the fans have suffered through a 3-10 season. And what goes through a guy's mind to go, I think I'll let everyone know I'm on a yacht with an expensive bottle of wine and a chick while you're all in the weight room? That's what I don't get.
Yeah, I think it's kind of out of touch, and it kind of relates to the sense of like he's been hurt a lot while he's there, and there's been a big disconnect between him and I think the city and everything, and then plus everything they gave up to get him. I mean, and the way everything came down with the investigation and all that stuff, he had a lot surrounding him when he came in, and I think it was tough for him to really connect not only with the city but with the fans as well.
And the years are so different between now and when I played that I can't totally hope to know what he's thinking. But could he be thinking that, okay, those people hate me, they cheered when I got hurt, you know what, screw you, I'm going to send you
not
pictures
about those
from
people.
South Beach.
Yeah, but it's not about those people, Bob. It's about the team. It's not about the fans.
No, I'm not saying. Of course, it's about the team. I'm saying maybe he's doing a gotcha to the fans.
Yeah, but I mean, wouldn't you think that it would go better? It would go over better if he went the opposite way and said, "Hey, I'll take the booze, I'll take the criticism, and I'll come back better and stronger." And then I don't know how many years he has left on his deal, but to finish it out strong and try to win back some of the fan support and try to win back some of the respect in the locker room.
Well, I can tell you, I know you said I wonder what he's thinking. I can tell you exactly what he's thinking. As soon as this boat docks, I'm going to try to get a young masseuse and force her into sexual things she doesn't want to do. So that's exactly. Yeah. Hey, Bob could be on that boat.
Hey, Lucas Harrell, former White Sox pitcher, Astros pitcher, Braves pitcher, and we'll get to your coaching in just a little bit. As a native of Missouri, and I know you're a couple hours away from Kansas City, I can tell you, I covered a lot of games at Arrowhead. I was in Denver for a long time. I was in Pittsburgh when I covered the Montana throw in '94 when they beat them at Arrowhead. It's a very, very special place. It's incredible. And Lucas, I can't imagine what it's like now with Mahomes there and Kelsey and what they're doing.
Yeah, I mean, I think that it's changed a lot over the years. I mean, I grew up on the Priest homes a little bit. The Nigerian Nightmare was there a little bit before me. Derek Thomas. Who else was there? I don't know. I mean, we even had Montana, like you said, at the end of his career there a little bit. So I kind of grew up in an era where it was kind of up and down. I was really mad when we let Rich Gannon go, and we thought we thought Greasy was going to be better. Not Bob, it's the other one.
Brian.
Yeah, and it was just kind of one of those things to where he went to Oakland, he won 2 MVPs, and he took them to a Super Bowl, and it was like I told all my friends at that time, I was like, man, we're letting the wrong guy go, and so it's changed a lot, but I mean, now it's just crazy. All my like growing up in Springfield, which is like two and a half hours away. There was a lot of people there now that it's just like the whole city in Springfield is a complete Chiefs.
Yeah. And when I say it was special, much like Cleveland, it remained a diehard football area, and you get 80,000 people in red. It's a really cool place. It's one of my 3 favorite stadiums.
That is one of the most interesting. Bob, you played at Arrowhead being a Raider.
Matter of fact, when Lucas said the Nigerian Nightmare, I shivered a little bit.
With that headed towards your body, Bob?
I hit him in the
Well, they listed him at what, like 250, but he was probably pushing 260, 270.
Yeah. I came up in the hole. We hit face to face. And as soon as we hit, I pinched the nerve in both shoulders, and I couldn't lift my arms up. But I was still standing. So I was running at him, like trying to hit him, and he had staggered backwards. And I'm just like, somebody grab him.
How about if you needed to come out of the game? You can't get either arm up to flag the coach. You got to call another player over and go,
exactly.
Pick an arm and raise it and point at me. I got to get out of here.
Luckily, like Wolverine.
The cool thing I have to say, having seen the complex with Royal Stadium and Arrowhead next to each other, that happened in the early 1970s. And it's so odd that a city like Kansas City, of any place in the United States, was the first to do the dual stadium thing and right by the freeways, so it's like you're on, you're off. When you first see it, didn't you think that, like, how come everybody else didn't think it? Well, now we have Jacobs Field next.
Well, the difference, it's out of town. You got to, it's not in the city.
No,
so, and you got to be willing to do that, which, Lucas, you may know is a big issue here now with the Browns. Just they're only going to move 12 miles away, but it's a really big issue.
Yep.
So, hey, more to come. Lucas, stick around for one more block, please, and we'll catch you on the other side of this break when the tailgate continues. Back here in the tailgate, Week 15 in the NFL. Let's talk baseball for just a second. Lucas Harrell, a former Major League pitcher, is joining us, and we appreciate your time. I know you got to be shivering down there in Tampa, so thanks for getting through this with us.
Yeah.
I have my golf polo on, so I can go hit some balls afterwards.
I will tell you this: if you're going to a Rays game this year, you're going to be shivering since the hurricane tore the roof off the Tropicana Field. I finally thought, Lucas, this is our chance to get the Rays to Montreal and bring the Expos back, but instead, and I know this bothers the heck out of you, the Rays are going to play at George Steinbrenner Field. It's a minor league stadium. But what did you say, Luke? They have to pay him some huge amount of money instead of just, why don't they go to Raymond James and change it into a baseball stadium for a year?
Or go to Charlotte or something. Yeah, I was reading a thing where they're having to pay the Yankees to use that stadium, and it was somewhere upwards of $100 and something million.
Jeez.
And it's like, why would you be
Yankees
paying the
use
team
that money to go get more great players, and the Rays already have What a stupid thing to pay the Yankees that money.
Sounds like the Browns front office.
Hey, Lucas, when you look at the Guardians situation in their payroll limitations, and I mean, fans here are just like, they hate ownership, as you may know, and they won't spend money, but they win. We wish the Browns front office was like the Guardians front office, to be honest with you, but they always find a way to do it. What's your take from afar?
It's their draft process and their willingness to call up young guys and give them a chance. That's why Chuck and I have talked a lot about why they have such good young pitching all the time. The Rays do it. Oakland did it back in the day. If you're an organization that isn't going to spend the money to go out and get free agents, you have to continually call up young guys that are doing well in the minor leagues and not worry about, they need the season. They need another year in the minor leagues. They need this. Well, the guy went 12-6 with a 2.5 ERA. Yeah, he might be 19-20, but let's get him on up. And that's why you've seen like a rotation of really good young pitchers who have come through that organization in the last 10 years who have made a big impact. And then I also think that the Indians make good trades at the right time. They don't keep guys too long. The Jose Ramirez deal, keeping him long term, I thought was really good. Kind of letting the Kluber thing go, even though, he was a fan favorite and they wanted him to stay. And then I think actually bringing back Shane Bieber this year is really, really good because he'll be that veteran presence. And then now you take a couple of your guys from AA or AAA, you say, hey, there's 2 spots open in spring training. There's going to be a fight for it. You got 4 or 5 guys that can go for it. And then those 2 guys make the team. And it becomes a friendly competition, and it makes everybody step their game up.
Yeah, well, let me ask you one quick question on the heels of that. It's great for young players, and it's also great for sustainability and being competitive consistently. However, it makes a lot of us wonder, but at the end of the day, can you really get past the Yankees? I mean, are we going to look up and it's going to be the Dodgers again? And it's going to be the team spending it. That's not a guarantee in baseball. You spend the money, you're not guaranteed to win.
Are you saying that dropping $750 million on Juan Soto is spending money? You realize that contract is more than the Indians will spend in a decade.
10 years, correct.
In a decade.
So, I mean, you got to look, there's 28 cities that are in this situation. I completely get it. There's only so many Red Sox, Yankees, and Dodgers
But the
payrolls out
problem
there.
with baseball that they always Lucas, I've told you this drives me nuts, is it's the one league where if Mark Cuban owned the Indians, he would spend as much, if not more, than the Yankees and the Dodgers. It is not that. It drove me nuts when I was on the radio. I would not allow people to get away with that. This small market team, it doesn't matter how big the market is. It's the ownership. They decide how much they're willing to spend.
Have they ever talked about a salary cap?
Well, they have the luxury tax.
The players' union, I don't think that they technically really want one. But I mean, a salary cap in a sense, I mean, it would probably cause some parity. But I mean, at the end of the day, your New Yorks, your LAs, your Chicagos, your Texas, your big market teams. I mean, if you look at most major sports, usually the majority of the teams that make the playoffs are big market, and then they sprinkle in a few small market teams. And I just think they do that because that's viewership. It's LA, New York. That's kind of what the media pushes. And I mean, because I see guys that are managers and coaches of teams that they're not good managers, they're not good coaches, but yet their team makes it because they have the talent. If they didn't have that talent, they wouldn't be winning those games. That's why I think you look at some of these smaller market teams and these coaches and what they're doing, it's really impressive.
Hey, speaking of coaching, so were you coaching in Asia and was that interrupted?
No, so I was thinking about going back this year and doing it, but I don't know if you saw what's happened recently on the political side.
This is South Korea, by the way, just so everybody knows.
South Korea, they've kind of had some political problems with just the whole. I don't know if it's
the president declared martial law. I would think that's a problem in a democracy in South Korea. And he was on his way to going back and signing a contract and going back and doing it. Mm-hmm. And knowing his mom and dad like I do, they're like, no. Yeah, no.
Yeah. What did you have to do? I mean, you just had to shelter in place, or?
No. So I wasn't there. Yeah. I was communicating with them, and they were talking about coming back and coaching and helping out with some pitching stuff. But with all the conflict and everything going on, and then some of the videos I saw, I was like, at this time in my life, I don't think that's probably the best thing to do.
Do you plan on remaining a pitching coach? I mean, is that like what you want to do long term?
I wouldn't mind maybe possibly one day getting back into baseball here, and I think I would want to get into it more on the managing side. I think the reason why there's a lot of disconnect between the players and the managers is because they don't take the time to get to know the players, and they don't understand like managing personalities. You might have the three of you might have one of you might need to be a guy that you can get on their ass. Another guy might be, hey, you got to coddle this guy a little bit. And the other guy, you might just need to say, hey, this is what we need to work on, this is or whatnot. But I don't think from a managing standpoint, when I saw in baseball and what I feel like most sports do, I don't feel like they get that connection. And the ones that do get that connection with the players, I feel like their teams end up doing better.
So you know what we can do? We can hook him up. Brian Anderson, our former Cleveland Indian. He's the voice of your Tampa Bay Rays. And the Rays manager, Kevin Cash, was Tito Francona's bullpen coach, so you got a Cleveland connection there. I would just drop Bob Golic's name. It works all over the world.
Yeah, it really does. Hey, Lucas, before we go, real quick, so your Chiefs, you give the 4.5?
I'm going to say the Chiefs, I would say Chiefs 7.5.
All right, there you go. Thanks, man. Wow. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks, Luke.
Thank you.
See you, buddy. Soon. All right, more football on the way. Stick around. All right, back here on the Big Play Tailgate with Booms, Golic, Zarrella, Week 15, Browns and Chiefs. Big news in the NFL. A lot of news flying around. OBJ was cut loose. 49ers linebacker.
Oh, you're kidding.
No. 49ers, he orchestrated another exit. 49ers linebacker decided, I'm not going in. I don't want to play. And
What the
Bill
hell?
Belichick
Yeah.
takes over down at the University of North Carolina. Chucky and I were talking before the show. This, you know what has happened? And you saw Andrew Luck become the general manager at Stanford because it's now a professional business with these football teams. That they're changing the landscape completely.
Yeah,
Right?
I feel like, Bob, we were talking before the show and definitely wanted to talk to you about it. But it feels like Belichick is now laying down the gauntlet that you're going to see a lot, I predict, of older NFL established coaches go to like universities like Carolina. I could see Kentucky doing it, my alma mater. They have a ton of money. And what's happening is the minute Belichick signed, I told Tony, he goes and gets Lombardi to be the general manager. Here's one for the Browns fans. Freddie Kitchens has already joined the staff. But what's going to happen is the staff is going to be filled with big-name coaches that every 18-year-old knows and goes, why would I not go there for 1 year or 2 years with all of the great things that are going on there, plus get money, and rather than learn from the head coach of the Indiana Hoosiers, who's some guy who came from some small school, I have Bill Belichick and an entire like New England Patriots structure at Carolina. I literally hate North Carolina, being a Kentucky fan, but what they just pulled off, Bob, is total genius.
I hope hold on. I hope his tenure lasts as long as that comment. Go ahead, Bob.
We'll be right back.
I think Tony was right. That his tenure might not. No, okay. I think Tony's right in the sense that because of the nature of college football becoming more semi-pro or pro, what have you, that maybe a guy that's used to working with contracts, used to having people coming in and out, they're making an adjustment for that with portals, people coming in, people going out, people changing their mind, and maybe the pro guys got a more of a feeling of, okay, we're going to build here.
With the portal, you can, just to jump in, but with the portal, you can target guys you want, and Lombardi's going to run it, Tony, like a draft room in New England.
Exactly.
He's going to run it like that. Go get him, and him.
That's right. And now, you mentioned Kentucky. We're talking second-tier football programs here.
Yes.
So North Carolina, Scoozy. Now you're going to look at these things. Now it's just not the Alabamas, LSUs, Ohio States, whatever. Now they can win.
We don't know which programs. I can tell you Kentucky, from being down there, has an unconscionable amount of money, horse money and all that stuff down there. But he's exactly right, Bob. We don't know the other schools. Could Purdue have a ton of money or something? I don't know. Northwestern, I know, does. Do they go from a lapdog to, hey, I can go to Northwestern, and maybe Lovie Smith is the head coach at Northwestern, and you go, and I get to live in Chicago? I mean, there's so many variables.
And remember, there was a time where people wanted to go to the big schools, the big colleges, because they could get on TV, get a better chance to be exposed to the NFL. But then it got to the point with TV packages coming, Northeast Louisiana State was on TV. So they started building up players. And so you started seeing more, I don't want to say parity, because they were still lower tier. But you saw things starting to develop. And if Belichick forces his hand and brings these guys in like he is, I mean, you might be able to change the fortunes.
He's not going to have to force anyone's hand, Bob. I can tell you, his contract, why it took a week, he has full reign.
Yeah.
He's running
and he's
everything.
Brought in the guys that
and
he
here's
wants.
a question for both of you, and you're a Northeast guy and a Massachusetts guy. How long before the Ivy League, who has a ton of money, I mean a ton of money, that instead of Harvard or Yale being a joke, that all of a sudden, again, I go back to what I just said about Northwestern, you guys. Why wouldn't I want to go to Harvard and I can live in Boston?
Not only that, you just made me think they could go get Andrew Berry.
Oh,
they could get Andrew Berry to run the program.
No, that's Penn.
No, he's a Harvard guy.
Oh, I thought Barry went to Penn.
Stefanski's a Penn guy.
Stefanski's Penn.
They could.
Well, then you've just solved all our problems. Can you get Harvard on line 2?
Bob, Devondre Campbell is a Niners linebacker. Thursday night, it's a dismal season, obviously, for Kyle Shanahan. He turns to this guy in the third quarter and asks him to go in because linebackers are dropping. And he says, I don't feel like it. And in the fourth quarter, he just walked into the locker room with his helmet and called it a day. After the game, Shanahan was asked about it. He said he didn't want to play. Shanahan took some heat from people saying, wow, you shouldn't have exposed your guy. You should have kept that in the room. How disgraceful is it that a guy wouldn't go into the game?
Well, it's totally disgraceful. It's pretty disgraceful that the media came out and said you exposed the guy. I mean, they should have cut him the next day.
Oh, he'll be cut.
Told the guy, get out of here. We don't need you. And again, I talk from a guy that played 30-some years ago. So I don't know what the difference. There's
the
a difference
concept
there.
of that doesn't register
But the
with you.
idea that a guy would actually say, I mean, we fought to stay on the field. We wouldn't come off even when they wanted us to come off. And you got a guy whose little feelings got hurt because he wasn't in there. He wasn't playing. And then finally it came to a head where when they finally told him to go in, he says, no, thank you.
Everything's upside down. It's you. If you were that guy, Bob, when you played, they go, hey, Johnson, you're in. And he goes, oh, here we go. And it's like, this is my chance to show I belong and show my teammates I'm not a third stringer. I'm really, really good. And instead they're looking at their watch going, listen, I'd like to. It's a little late in the third for me. I was hoping.
I have to loosen up now. I have to stretch a little bit.
Sorry, I have a 9:30. I can't.
By the time I shower and everything, and I know you're in the middle of a play call, I have reservations at Ruth Chris. I can't.
I got to get downtown to Lefty O'Doul's.
You know how hard it is to find a parking space after the.
It's going to be harder for him to pay for a parking space.
Yeah,
Hey,
right.
OBJ orchestrated another exit from the Dolphins. They didn't practice all he wanted out. They gave him his win.
That's Baker Mayfield's fault. Even down in Miami, it must be BakerMayfield's fault. We run our starting quarterback out because of that
OBJ's
malcontent.
hair now?
I haven't
He was.
looked.
Remember Giants? It was that blonde thing. Here it was.
Listen.
Natural.
I want you to get to a place in life where I am. It's the same thing with Deshaun or anybody else.
Like him.
I don't follow you on social media.
Yeah.
Not you. I follow you. I don't know what color his hair is. It's a blissful place to be.
Is it really?
Yes, I don't care.
I
what
can
OBJ is doing.
also tell you I did not play for the Dolphins this year, and I only finished 55 yards in receiving behind OBJ.
You're neck and neck. That's right.
Right there.
But it's a really tough loss for the Dolphins. I don't know how they're going to move forward.
Yeah, I mean, so it's the fan base.
Sad thing is that he thinks that they're affected by this.
Well,
Yeah.
what he does definitely think is that somebody else is lined up to get him.
and
Yeah.
somebody, and I worry.
Nice
that-
guy. Nice guy.
I worry somebody else is gonna.
Yeah.
Take.
Guess where we're going?
Like we took Deshaun.
Guess where we're
Yeah.
going?
Oh, I know.
Oh, ahead or behind?
Yes. Did I win last week?
No.
You did not. And wait till you find out, Bob, what the topic is today. I will just tease the audience. Ryan and I were in a festive mood.
All right.
All right.
Stick around. We're right back. And back here on the tailgate in just a week and a half before Christmas, my favorite time of year.
Me too.
And with that, we tee it up for.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, it's time for the game show Sweeping the Nation. From San Diego, California to Kennebunkport, Maine, and from Seattle, Washington, down to Key West, Florida, where I'll be meeting up with former NASCAR pinup boy Casey Kane and finally finding out just how much lube he really likes on his undercarriage. It's ahead or behind.
Does that music remind you of like the Gong Show?
That's what he got out of that, the music.
Yeah, I like the music too. It does. It has me.
No, because I just the rest of it just got shoveled out of my head because it was.
I know. Well,
it made
stick
me
it in the
throw up
water.
in my mouth a little bit.
All right, Bobby.
You ready?
I'm ready for you.
I hope so, because what I hold in my hand is the top 25 all-time Christmas song favorites. Top 25 Christmas songs of all time.
All right.
Right in the middle of the list is Simply Having a Wonderful Christmas Time by Paul McCartney.
I'm a Beatles guy, and that is one of the worst Christmas songs of all time.
yes.
I got him to play it at a
compare that-
concert here.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. Now you compare that to John Lennon's Christmas, which is one of the. Well, it's got to be on the
Okay.
list.
All right. Well,
War is over. You know the song I'm talking.
Yes.
It is one of the best songs of all time. And McCartney, what he does, he
This is from Paul McCartney and Wings. That's when he apparently did it. But Paul McCartney, right in the middle of the list. People at home are clamoring. Let's get to it. Wonderful Christmas Time, Paul McCartney in the middle. Bob Golic, we'll start with you this week.
Okay. Don't look at me like that, Tony.
I'm not.
Is 8 Days of Christmas by Destiny's Child. That's Beyonce, isn't it, Ryan?
It sure is.
8 Days of Christmas by
Behind.
Destiny's Child. Ahead or behind?
Behind.
It is
I
behind.
wasn't even going to wait for the end of that one.
All right, Bob's on the board.
Bob's on the board. Let's see if I can't keep this going and keep Tony
Well,
alive.
give me an easy one like that.
All right. Let's give you an easy one, for God's sakes. Tony. This was one of his breakout hits with his family. It is played constantly. I own it. I consider it a classic. It's hard to believe how great he was, even as a little boy. Is Michael Jackson and the Jackson 5 doing Santa Claus is coming to town. Whoa, yeah, Santa Claus is coming to town. The Jackson 5, ahead or behind?
And what is it? That means top what?
Ahead, top 25.
top
So it would
25.
have to be ahead of McCartney, who you don't like anyway.
I love Paul.
He
I don't
likes
like
Paul.
the song. So McCartney's 12. Is this a
Yeah.
top 11? Behind.
It is behind. I think he can see through.
No,
the
I didn't.
sheet.
I
can't-
just don't think
can't-
it's top 11. So I mean,
I have to.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to.
That was good questioning.
Bob, I'll stop the cheating right now.
Okay.
I saw him
Why don't
staring
you
at the
stop
bottom.
cheating
and
after me?
He saw it. He saw it. Okay. Bob Golic.
What?
She just concluded the most successful tour in the history of music.
Reba.
And she'll be in Cleveland this weekend cheering on her tight end boyfriend, Travis Kelce.
We don't really know that he has a tight end.
That's
But
correct.
she would know.
That'll be next week's ahead or behind. Is The Christmas Tree Farm by Taylor Swift.
Oh, God.
The Christmas Tree Farm by the one and only Taylor Swift, ahead or behind Paul McCartney. Wonderful Christmas time.
I was gonna say behind, but I don't know. She's just grabbing up. So I'll take a chance and say ahead.
And I had a feeling that you might, and that's why I put it there. I've never heard, you and I we all love Christmas music. I have never even heard of the song.
I haven't even heard any of the traditional stuff.
Yeah.
Marshmallow World, that will.
Yeah.
All right, go, Zarrella. Let's see here. Let me go over my list and see if you. Well, here we go.
I'm ready.
All right. I just mentioned about my upcoming weekend with Casey Kane and Key West. Here's a couple of guys who'll be, well, at one time would have been just a couple doors down, also having a good time. The group led by the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame legend George Michael and Andrew Ridgeley, his partner back then. The great guys of Wham, it's been redone a bunch of times, but never as good as the original, is Last Christmas I Gave You My Heart, and the very next day you gave it away. Is Wham ahead or behind?
Ahead.
It is. Oh, I thought I could get him. All right, Bob, you gotta get. This is really Zarrella couldn't have cheated there. All right, Bob Golic, let's do. He's gonna be pissed because he's gonna say I'm just giving you this one.
Well, you already gave him the.
Here's our season 1 winner of American Idol.
Oh,
She has
Kelly Clarkson.
Yes, and she just had when was it, Ryan? Last year, 2 years ago, it came out and just roared. Well,
Yeah.
hate to say it, but to the top of the charts. Underneath the tree, da, da, when the music is da, da,
Oh, yeah,
da,
yeah,
da,
yeah,
da, 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 da.
That's
Gone
ahead.
Alone on
That's a hit.
Christmas. Is it, Brian? Oh, my goodness.
This is for the win.
I like this song very much. This is for the win. And you know what? After the long-suffering nightmare will come to an end right here, Bob, even though I think he cheated on the first one.
Don't I get another question like worth 3 points?
The quintessential.
right.
You should. The quintessential. If he misses this, the quintessential Christmas song to me as a little kid in the backseat of the car with the parents is by the lovely Brenda Lee, Rockin' Round the Christmas Tree.
Yeah. Ahead. We get about.
I did it, Bob. I got him.
Get about 30 seconds for Bob.
Opens the door.
You can tie.
Opens the door for Bob Golic.
This one's worth 2.
Or you lose if you don't get it.
Okay.
She is, I believe, in the new movie Wicked, which I can't believe I haven't seen yet. But put that on my list of things to do over the next decade. She's red hot, Bob, and I do know this song. Santa, tell me. Bum, 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 bum. It's great beat, the whole thing. The lovely, she is a beautiful girl, Ariana Grande. And Grande isn't that she's big. She's a tiny thing. Very attractive. Santa, tell me, Ariana Grande for the win, Bob Golic. Ahead or behind of Paul McCartney, Wonderful Christmas?
Behind.
And is not behind. Congratulations, Tony Zarrella. Cue the music here as I tell everybody the greatest songs of all time. I have no idea what the hell this is. Fairy Tale of New York by the Pogues and Christy McCall. I don't even know what that is. Number 2 was too easy. All I Want for Christmas is You. Mariah Carey. She is Grande.
What the hell's White Christmas with Bing Crosby?
White Christmas, Bing Crosby, if you can believe this, was 10th. And the only reason I didn't do it is because you'd still say ahead, but it barely was. Here's the other songs.
This is stupid.
Christmas, Baby, Come Home, Darlene, Love. Feliz Navidad, Jose Feliciano, love it. Baby, It's Cold Outside, the original, Ella Fitzgerald and Louis Armstrong. What I noticed about this and this is a garbage list, no Carpenters.
Okay.
How can you have no Carpenters? No Amy Grant.
Where's
No Barry Manilow.
Happy Christmas? War is over. John Lennon.
That's not on the list.
Yeah, we should put those things like that one. Santa Claus should have looked at it.
Yeah, it's really. If you want to know what's on the bottom of this list, Dominic the Donkey by Lou Monte.
You know, I'm Italian. And
You're Italian. You love that one.
I don't love it. All right, we'll break out your pens. We're going to do the picks.
Oh, it's Chucky's Keys
Keys
coming
to
up.
the
Time
game.
to pick some games.
When we come back.
Congratulations again, Tony Zarrella.
Yeah,
Thank you very
Tony.
much.
Off the schneid.
All right, back here on the tailgate, they're still arguing about the songs on
Yeah,
the list.
terrible list.
It's a bizarre list.
Yeah.
Let's get to the picks here. Week
All right.
Chucky?
It's time for
Chucky.
Tony to get a throat lozenge. And Chucky's Keys to the game. I mean, I know you're choked up about that 4.5 points the Chiefs are given.
I want to start with what is a monster spread here.
There's some great games this week,
There are some
especially in
great
the 4
games.
o'clock window.
We'll hold the Browns until the end. Ravens at Giants. Okay, Ravens still trying to win this division.
I said there were great games this week.
Well, I didn't say, but I love the Ravens because as a contender. I don't love them as a franchise, but I love them as a contender.
Yeah.
You don't.
Yeah.
You're not a
well,
big
how could you not love the Ravens, Bob? The most overrated quarterback in the history of the NFL. Mr. 1-3 at home in playoff
Well,
games.
he's on the road this week. They're giving 16, Bob, to the god-awful Giants.
Tony DeVito or whatever his name is.
I never know who's playing for them. But
You may talk that way about the quarterback, but I when he gets hot, I mean, he can change
So
the
can
fortunes,
anybody.
but
Why
he's
do we
not
make
gonna-
excuses
but
for
make things
I-
happen, throw the ball, run the ball. But he's not
And
gonna,
lose
they're not
playoff
even gonna-
games.
They're not even going to let them even worry about him.
Do you
against
give the
Giants.
16 points in
No.
an NFL game?
Oh, my God.
So what are you saying?
I'm saying take the Giants in 16.
And I will join
Yeah.
Bob Golic. I will also take, that's ridiculous. I'll take the 16 points in the Giants. And Bob, it's at the Meadowlands. So
Right. Ryan.
I'm going Ravens. They're pissed they lost to the Eagles. They're going to take it out on a bad team.
I agree with Ryan. By the way, is Lamar a top 5 quarterback?
In the league right now?
Yeah.
Oh, he's top 3.
So
Thank you.
say the
Thank you.
guilt-ridden whiteys.
He
They,
can't
make,
just be
they
good.
make fun of it.
It has to
What
be.
does he do good? He can't win a playoff game at home as the number 1 seed. Sucks with a capital S. We ran Baker up because we're like, he's never going to get us there. He can't get us there. And this ass clown gets praised everywhere and given MVP trophies to do the one thing he's supposed to do, win a frickin' playoff game. And how about one at home, Lamar? He stinks. Next.
Bengals at Titans. Bengals.
There's a quarterback. Joe
Bengals.
Burrow.
I know he is a quarterback. By the way, what a lucrative job that would be because you got a phenomenal quarterback, you got a phenomenal receiver, and if you can shore up the defense, which would be quicker.
And you get
then-
to work for the Brown family, which
Well,
is like
that's-
working for Marge Schott
over
when she
here.
owned the Reds.
Yeah.
And he bought the one of 10 Batmobiles for $2.9
Better than
million.
a Bob, better than a left tackle.
Yeah.
Bengals-
And he got his house ripped off.
I'm
the
only
last
doing
game.
yes.
Yeah,
I'm only
Joe
doing
Burrow.
this because they're in the division. They're miserable.
He's avoiding
year.
all the good games.
Well, I'll get to him. Bengals giving 5 to the Titans. Is this your game of the week there?
The fat porn game of the week, it has a definite stench, but the Bengals don't really make it that. The Bengals are going to win. They're still, they are, I know 92-3, the apologist doesn't want to do it, but they are technically still alive, and I think this is going to continue their run. Bengals also know the Browns are coming, so that's another win. I'm taking the Bengals, Bob.
I'm going Bengals too. I
Ryan?
think that they've got it going.
Yeah, Bengals easily.
Bengals as well. All right. Bills at Lions. Lions giving 2.5 at Ford Field.
Wow. Hate to do it because I am a huge Lions fan. I love John Dorsey. I love Dan Campbell. I love everything they're doing. They are really missing Bob as a defensive all-star your whole career. That Hutchinson injury hurts them. Even though they got Za'Darius from the Browns, he's helped. But, man, are they hemorrhaging on that line. And I believe the Bills are going to come out and run it, and then Josh Allen's going to open it up. I have the Bills in an upset at Ford Field.
As much as I would rather see an AFC team win, I love the Bills, Josh Allen, all that whole menagerie of players.
Wow.
But I know it's a big word.
That's a great word.
I
And,
usually only
but-
hear it with the word glass before
But
it.
the Lions, I at home, I don't think Bills can hold.
That's
them
why
off.
it's a
I'm
huge
going
game because
Lions,
they need to hold on to home field because if everybody has to go through Detroit, they're going to go.
yeah.
Ryan.
Lions.
I got the Lions. I look how quick and succinct he is.
Yeah, and by the way, the other week I got
drones on and
no
on and
praise. No praise, yeah. Like when y'all made fun of my meh and said the Rams are about to get on a roll.
That's just unbelievable.
Yeah.
And you go to Ryan, he's like, Lions. Which is great. Lions, that's it.
Yeah.
All right? Browns.
Rams.
Browns.
We're going to say 4. We had a minute.
Browns.
Getting 4 against the Chiefs.
Browns.
Okay. Ryan.
Oh, Kansas City.
Go ahead.
I think that the Chiefs are going to. This is the game. It hasn't happened all year, but I think this is the open up the can of whoop ass on somebody as they start to turn their attention to late December in the playoffs. It starts here in Cleveland with Taylor cheering on Kelsey, and by the time the game's over, there'll be Browns fans left cheering for Travis Kelsey and the Chiefs.
Well, Travis, an easy guy to like.
Yes.
I'm giving the points. I'm taking the Chiefs. If the Chiefs win, I don't think the Haslams will be perplexed. I don't. I think.
Well,
it makes
3-11, they don't care. They want to break. They said that they're still bringing everybody back. By the way,
Are they perplexed on how they won 3 games?
That's a better way to put it. All right, gentlemen.
One of them
thank you.
against that all-star Lamar Jackson. How could that happen? That superstar.
All right, thanks.
Well,
Have a great week, everybody. See you next week on the tailgate.